Caroline Bouvier Kennedy was born on November 27, 1957, in New York City, to Jacqueline Kennedy Onassis and John F. Kennedy. Caroline spent her early years living in the White House during her father's term as president. His time in office is often referred to as the Camelot presidency for the hope and optimism the young politician brought to America. As a result, the Kennedys were thrust into the spotlight as the ideal American family. Caroline was a frequent media darling. People couldn't get enough of the little girl who walked her father to the Oval Office each morning and rode her pony on the White House lawn. Not everything in the Kennedy household was idyllic, however, and the family suffered numerous tragedies. Among them were Jackie's miscarriages, one occurring 15 months before Caroline was born, and another 3 years later on August 7, 1963, a premature baby boy whom the Kennedys named Patrick. But chief among the losses that affected Caroline directly came on November 22, 1963, when her father was assassinated by sniper fire. Caroline was not yet 6 years old at the time. The iconic image of her holding her mother's hand and her brother, John Jr., saluting John F. Kennedy's flag-draped coffin during the nationally televised funeral procession remains one of the most tragic moments in American presidential history. By the late 1960s, the family had established a quiet New York City life. But in 1968, Caroline and John Jr.'s lives were shattered again with the assassination of their beloved uncle and U.S. Senator, Robert F. Kennedy. Jackie became frightened for the safety of her children. 4 months after Bobby's death, Jackie married Greek shipping magnate Aristotle Onassis. Onassis would shower Caroline and her brother with gifts, but Caroline couldn't quite accept him, and there were also tensions between his children and Jackie. Caroline often turned to her uncle, U.S. Senator Edward Ted Kennedy, for comfort, and the two became very close. Onassis provided security for the family when they were in New York. During vacations and breaks, the family would spend time in Greece or sailing their yacht around the Caribbean. In 1969, Caroline enrolled at the Brearley School, an exclusive all-girls school on the Tony Upper East Side of Manhattan, where she excelled as a student and as a budding photographer. She next attended Concord Academy in Massachusetts. It was the first time she lived away from her mother. During this time, Jackie's marriage to Onassis began to unravel. Her stepfather was devastated by the loss of his 24-year-old son, Alexander, who had died after a plane crash in 1973. Aristotle Onassis died in March 1975. After his death, Jackie moved back to New York City permanently and went to work as an editor at Viking Press. She continued to try and shield her children from the public eye, often keeping them away from their rebellious, scandal-making cousins. After earning her bachelor's degree in 1980, Caroline worked at the Metropolitan Museum of Art, where she met her future husband, an interactive media designer named Edwin Schlossberg. She also began serving as president of the John F. Kennedy Library Foundation, a nonprofit organization dedicated to providing financial support, staffing, and creative resources to the John F. Kennedy Presidential Library and Museum. On July 19, 1986, Caroline Kennedy married 41-year-old Schlossberg in an elaborate Cape Cod, Massachusetts wedding. Despite the family's efforts to avoid publicity, the wedding became a topic of wide interest in the media. A crowd of more than 2,000 spectators surrounded the church and a nearby hillside. Interested in politics, but not the limelight, Caroline quietly entered Columbia Law School. She graduated with little fanfare in 1988 during a private pre-commencement ceremony, along with 380 other students. That same year, she gave birth to her first child, Rose. In 1989, the young lawyer stayed busy by establishing the profile in Courage Awards, which honors elected officials who have shown political courage. She also began research on her first book. On July 16, 1999, Caroline endured more hardship when her only sibling, brother John F. Kennedy Jr., was killed, along with his wife and sister-in-law, in a plane crash near Martha's Vineyard, Massachusetts. While the tragedy's effect on Caroline was kept private, the only remaining heir to the Kennedy legacy quickly took up the family mantle. In 2000, she finally agreed to become a speaker at the 2000 Democratic National Convention. In 2008, the famously private Caroline Kennedy made headlines when she was rumored as a possible candidate for Hillary Clinton's vacant Senate seat. Caroline later withdrew her bid for the post, citing personal reasons. On July 24, 2013, Caroline was nominated U.S. Ambassador to Japan by President Barack Obama, putting to rest much speculation in the media regarding her likelihood to win the title. She was officially approved by the U.S. Senate in October. On December 15, 2021, President Joe Biden nominated Kennedy to be the United States Ambassador to Australia. Hearings on her nomination were held before the Senate Foreign Relations Committee on April 7, 2022. The committee favorably reported her to the Senate floor on May 4, 2022. She was confirmed by the Senate on May 5, 2022, by voice vote. Kennedy was officially sworn in on June 10, 2022. She presented her credentials to Governor-General of Australia, David Hurley, on July 25, 2022.